Marylebone Road, please, Madame Tassauds.
This is going to be no ordinary journey, I can tell you. We're going to one of the most famous tourist attractions in the world, and it's in London.
I bet this cab could find its way there on autopilot. Did you know that Madame Tassauds is Britain's #1 attraction, and has been for years?
Yes, well, as I was about to say, there's something there for everyone. Pop stars, politicians, sporting people, royalty, the lot.
You know, about 10 million overseas visitors come to London each year. Over 2 million from America, millions from Europe, 500,000 from Japan. I bet most of them go to Madame Tassauds.
Yes, well, who could argue with statistics like that? They know everything, London cab drivers. But he's right, you know. 2.5 million people visit Madame Tussauds each year. And that's an awful lot of people. Oh, good. We've arrived. There you go. Worth every penny. It's exciting. Well, you certainly get your money's worth here. I mean, where else could you go and see so many celebrities at once? Hollywood? Well, you don't have to, because it's all here in London for you. My name's Annabelle. Not a lot of people know that. Oh, oh, thanks. See, everyone just behaves like the paparazzi here. Because you can bring your camera. It's brilliant. And this is Madame Tussauds herself, in person. Well, in wax. Well, in person. Well, you know what I mean. Anyway, she made this of herself when she was 81 years old. Now, she may look frail and tiny to you, but boy, oh boy, does she have a few murderous tales to tell us.
Tussauds was her married name. She was born in Strasbourg 230-odd years ago and christened Anna Marie Groschholz. She never knew her father, a soldier who died in battle before she was born. She moved to Switzerland with her mother, who was to work as housekeeper to this important gentleman, Dr. Philippe Curtius. He had a medical practice, but his passion was for wax modeling. His knowledge of anatomy enabled him to sculpt remarkably lifelike models, capturing the personality of his sitters. He eventually gave up medicine and opened a wax exhibition in Paris. His artistic reputation quickly grew, and his salon de cire became famous. It was over 200 years ago that this Sleeping Beauty was modelled, and she's still perfectly preserved. She appears to be waiting for Prince Charming to wake her with a kiss. Madame du Barry, whose likeness this represents, was the celebrated mistress of King Louis XV and is the oldest surviving model in the exhibition. Though surviving is hardly the appropriate word, as the real Madame du Barry went to the guillotine in 1793 during the French Revolution. Marie moved to the Paris studios of Dr. Curtius, where she was fascinated by the work. She was a keen and observant student and became skilled in the art of model making.
Marie learnt very quickly, and by the time she was 17, she was accomplished enough to model the famous writer and philosopher of the time, Voltaire.
Her talents won her royal favour, and as a young woman she became art tutor to the Princess Elizabeth, sister of Louis XVI. She lived in the opulent world of royalty for 9 years at the magnificent Versailles Palace. During her stay at Versailles, she modelled this group of Louis XVI and his family. The portrayal of royalty has been an ongoing tradition at Madame Tussauds ever since, including the kings and queens of Europe, as well as our own royal families.
In those bygone days, the exhibiting of figures in wax was the most practical way for famous and revered people to be brought before the public. Cameras hadn't been invented. A real lifelike statue was the next best thing, and it's still popular today. Let's take a sneaky peek behind the scenes to see how they create these works of art. This is a privilege, so watch closely. You won't get an opportunity again unless you become famous or notorious.
At a sitting, accurate measurements and photographic references are taken from many angles. From this, a sculptor can create an accurate likeness.
You've done a full circle then, haven't you?
More or less. Just one more.
Wax portraits first need to be modelled in clay at Madame Tussauds studios by specially trained sculptors. They're all artists who have a thorough understanding of anatomy. They work from sittings and photographs and use their skill to capture the personality of their subject. Like Chione Fuji, the great Japanese sumo champion.
You have to do photographs all the way around the body, all the way around the head, photographs from below, from above, every conceivable angle. With Chione Fuji, he seemed an extremely calm and a very powerful man. I asked him to look at me at the sort of expression that they would use before they have their match. And he had such a powerful stare, such a strong expression, that I couldn't hold his eye. I had to look away. And then when I looked back, he did it again. I think he's used to doing that. He seemed to find it quite an amusing thing to do. We had to build a very strong armature because he was quite a weight, so there's an awful lot of clay there. And so I started off, when I got the photographs back, by drawing lines all down the photographs, vertical lines. I then had to see that the metal frame that supported him would fit inside of the clay. Because of the power in the expression, I had to really try and get it just by modelling the eyes. And then afterwards I moved the head backwards and forwards, up and down, changed the angle just a little bit to just try and give a bit more of an intensity, so that it's ended up with the head pulled slightly more forward than in the sitting. But that's the feeling that I wanted to get. I wanted his eyes almost to drill into the people that are looking at him. In this one, I really felt that I had to pull the stops out to use all my training, all my understanding about anatomy, and it was very enjoyable to do that. I'm particularly pleased with the way that this figure has turned out.
The moulding studio. A moulder makes a mould from the clay model. Great care must be taken when handling the mould. Then special wax, heated to exactly the right temperature, is poured, very carefully. After a period of time, the surplus wax is poured off, leaving a wax deposit on the inside of the mould. When the wax is set, the mould is removed.
But after the sitting, the modelling and the casting, what next?
Real hair, one strand at a time, is inserted into the head with delicate and skillful precision, and a great deal of patience. The Madame Tussauds team of professional colourists, wig makers and stylists apply their skills to make the models as lifelike as possible.
Just making use of the facilities, you understand. And this is the wardrobe department. Well, wax figures wear clothes too, you know. This was actually Paul McCartney's. The Madame Tussauds fashion parade transcends all others, spanning several hundreds of years. You won't see a catwalk like this anywhere else in the world. The clothes you see here are exact replicas of the fashions of the period, reproduced in fine detail using the same cloths. In many cases, the actual clothes of the personalities are donated to the exhibition.
It's a great honour to be invited to be modelled and exhibited at the famous Madame Tussauds for the whole world to see. But how do celebrities react when they meet their wax portraits for the first time?
Slightly eerie feeling, I was telling you. Sure, he's Graham. I'm admiring the tie.
Fascinating. Fascinating. It's perfect.
When you're invited to be on display at Madame Tussauds, we'll put it like this: you've arrived. Are you famous? Well, he's not actually, but he's a Chelsea pensioner, and they're here by invitation. The decision to offer a place in the most famous wax exhibition in the world is very carefully considered by the management. It's a full-time job to keep abreast of history. Nice or nasty, you have to have done something to be portrayed at Madame Tussauds.
Eminent people from the world of politics and royal dynasties are assembled in the famous Grand Hall. And, just as in the early days of the Salon de Cire during the Revolution, the figures have to be constantly updated.
Don't worry, it's only me. And I'm being a bit brave because this is the street where Jack the Ripper did all his murders. And it's a bit frightening.
A street of shadows, on which stands a replica of the 10 Bells public house that was frequented by the unfortunate victims of Jack the Ripper.
It's not a pretty sight, is it? But the dreaded guillotine was a common occurrence in the days of the French Revolution. Poor Marie Grosholz was inextricably entangled in the politics of the day, especially after her mentor, Dr. Curtius, had taken such an active part in the storming of the Bastille. This is said to be the key.
Marie had close royal family connections. Dr. Curtius, sensing political unrest, insisted she return to Paris to continue her work at the Salon de Cire. Inevitably, the revolution erupted, and Marie was obliged to make many death masks of the heads that rolled into the guillotine basket. Some she had known, like Marie Antoinette. The wax heads were put on display amongst the common thieves and criminals at the notorious Caverne de Grands Voleurs, or as it was eventually to become, the Chamber of Horrors. So, investigate this dark chamber of murder and mayhem for yourself.
If you dare.
After the horrors of the French Revolution, Marie inherited the Salon de Cire. She married and became Madame Tussauds and had 2 sons. But she was a career woman, and married life took second place. She concentrated on her art and became famous in her own right. The Duke of Wellington often visited the exhibition to see this figure of his great adversary, Napoleon Bonaparte. Madame Tussauds traveled to England with her son Joseph, and for the next 35 years they toured the British Isles, setting up her own exhibition in major towns and cities and attracting large crowds wherever they went. During this period, her other son Francis joined his mother and brother in England. Both were skilled in model making and helped in the family business. By 1835, she had grown tired of the arduous travelling and set up a permanent wax exhibition in London. P.T. Barnum, the great American showman, was so impressed that he made an offer to buy it, but she declined. Madame Tussauds died in 1850, leaving her family to carry on the tradition. Her grandsons moved the exhibition from Baker Street to its present site here in Marylebone Road in 1884. 1925 brought disaster to the exhibition when it was destroyed by fire. Within 3 years it was rebuilt And a new, even more exciting collection of figures grew from the ashes. Today, it's the most famous wax exhibition in the world, with a continuing accent on multimedia environment.
We felt that a garden party would be a very, very nice setting. It would be one that people really wouldn't expect, having come in off the street. So that was quite a surprise, and it's also at night, so that was again a surprise. We wanted it to be a relaxing atmosphere where people could just stroll around and, you know, have their picture taken, and I think that the garden gives them that kind of relaxed atmosphere. It's also very surprising to walk into a room and see a tree, the size of the tree there, and you see people go up to it and touch it because it looks so real. It just, you really do feel like you're in a party atmosphere, and I think that that's achieved something quite special and very different. Before, it was a series of tableaus where people would walk past each tableau and look at it and move on, whereas now there is no tableau, it's just an open space that people spend time in, mingling and talking to their friends and their stars. Tell me what the fabrics are for this one.
This is wool serge, and this is a woolen check with a woolen check waistcoat, chain, satin velvet.
Right. And when he moves his arm, is it going to be a problem when he actually hits the side here?
Because his arm is quite away from the body.
Down, doesn't he? So he's not actually, his arm's going to be away from the body, so it shouldn't be a problem. It's rather lovely, isn't she? Elizabeth, and we're looking at these fabrics. What's this one for then?
This is a possibility for one of her, this for the overskirt.
Background.
It'll have to be worked into with jewels and colours, sequins. And here the green velvet is for the coat, the jacket. It's black velvet.
Really nice. I think
And the satin for the waistcoat.
It's very varied. Obviously, each project has very difficult problems and very different problems. So we had brainstorming sessions, and at the brainstorming sessions, really, we all sit down and think, right, what sort of setting would best fit this sort of problem. Then we'll usually work up a storyboard, which is just a series of sketches. We bring everybody's ideas together and try and collate those into one really good idea. Having sorted out in our minds what the idea is and what we feel is best for that space, we will then work up scale drawings so that we know that our ideas can actually work spatially. There's no point having a really wonderful idea and then not being able to create it in the space. So we will work up scale drawings in 1:25 scale, and they will then be translated into a model into 3 dimensions. So you can see the model 25 times smaller than the actual thing. So you can imagine yourself actually being in that space. We have miniature figures in there that to exactly the right size, so we can see how it's going to look in 3 dimensions. It's not just a series of elevations of rooms, it's really the idea of the space that we put around the figures these days. We're much more experimental in the way we treat our designs. In the old days, perhaps a wax figure would have a black background, whereas now the environment is becoming very, very important, and people do come to Madame Tussauds to see wax figures, but they also come to see the spaces and the environments and the settings that they're in. There's a lot more to offer than there used to be.
Wax models are extremely lifelike, but they can't move like Charlie, or talk like Bogey. Or can they? Without detracting from the traditional aspects of the greatest wax exhibition in the world, there are some rather special exhibits planned for the future, with the emphasis on mystery, intrigue and movement. New durable materials are used for flexibility and specially designed wardrobe to allow for freedom of the limbs. Madame Tussauds herself would be proud of the new animatronic displays planned to take her show on course into the 21st century. The first of these displays, The Spirit of London, is now complete. And here is an invitation for you to join us on part of this magical history tour. Our mode of transport is itself one of the most famous in the world. Watch in wonder as the pages of the capital's history come to life. Visit the royal courts. See Shakespeare writing one of his great plays. Relive the terror of the Great Fire of London. And see the rebuilding of the city. Pass through the London of Charles Dickens. London as you've never seen it before. From the 1890s right through to the present day. This is a trip you'll never forget, and a perfect way to end your day at Madame Tussauds. But have you ever wondered what happens when the doors close at Madame Tussauds?
This little soiree has been put together by Madame Tussauds' corporate hospitality service, which is proving very popular with business people who want to entertain their clients here in a somewhat different atmosphere.
Truly a night out with the stars, and the music may even be provided by Dudley Moore. But this isn't the only place to see the stars. The space trail to the planetarium is an experience not to be missed. It's an exciting environment where you can move among the planets or watch images transmitted from space. Or follow the weather reports from a live link with Meteosat. It'll tell you whether you need your umbrella or not. The planetarium was built on the site of the former Grand Cinema, which was destroyed during the Blitz. The skies are much friendlier now. Inside this dome, thanks to space-age technology, you can see some of the wonders of the universe. Planets, exploding stars, comets, and black holes. It's out of this world.
if things needn't come to an end. After all, the Tassauds group has a lot more to offer.
Rock Circus in the heart of London's Piccadilly Circus. This is the only show in the world that brings the history of rock stars and their music to life, as well as featuring waxwork figures of the all-time greats. Where else could Phil Collins and the Beatles appear live on the same stage? Warwick Castle, a 900-year-old castle set in the heart of England. Warwick Castle, not far from the birthplace of William Shakespeare, is Britain's most visited stately home. And Tassauds can also scare you to death. The Vampire at Chessington World of Adventures on the southwest outskirts of London is unlike any other ride and is Britain's first hanging roller coaster. So whether you're 6 or 60, Chessington World of Adventures has something for you. Alton Towers, set in the beautiful Staffordshire countryside, is the largest theme park in Britain. The extensive grounds offer a greater variety of rides, exhibitions, events, live entertainment, gardens and shops than anywhere else in Britain. The only other genuine Madame Tussauds in the world is in Dam Square, Amsterdam. Discover the history of Amsterdam in this new exhibition.
You see, you never know who you're going to bump into next, but come and see for yourselves. You'll get on famously at Madame Tussauds.